In the 8th inquiry, called Cut with a Knife, we hear about how an abscess was lanced with a knife, how with a knife or a scalpel it was cut. In the past, it seems, the Buddha-to-be was a king in a border country. Through association with bad people in the border country, and because of living with a violent scoundrel, one day while walking through the town on foot with a sword in his hand, he went around cutting guiltless people down with the sword. Through that unwholesome deed and its result, after boiling in Nirya hell for many thousands of years and undergoing suffering in the animal world and so on, through the remainder of the result of that deed, after becoming the Buddha in his last state of existence, it is recorded that while he was below, Devadatta struck him a blow with a stone splinter he had thrown, and an abscess arose on his foot. Jivaka lanced that abscess with his mind full of loving kindness. Through that deed of causing blood to flow in a Buddha, there was a result immediately after this life for Devadatta, whose mind was full of hate. Through lancing that abscess, there was great merit for Jivaka, whose mind was full of loving kindness. Therefore it is said, "When I was a king going round on foot, I killed men with my sword. Through that deed and its result, I suffered much in Nirya hell. Through the remainder of that deed, at this time all the unbroken skin on my foot was cut. Deeds are never destroyed without result." In the 9th inquiry, called A Headache, we hear about how he had a pain in the head, or painful feeling in the head. In the past, it seems, the Buddha-to-be was reborn as a fisherman in a fisherman's village. One day, together with the fisherman, he went to the place where they murder fish, and seeing fish being murdered, happiness arose right there. And also right there and then, happiness arose for those he was with. Through that unwholesome deed, after undergoing suffering in the 4 lower realms, in this his last state of existence, together with those men he was born in the royal Sakya family, and by, having attained to Buddhahood, he suffered from pain in the head. And about the Sakyan royalty and their fate, it is recorded in the discussion in the commentary to the Dhammapada. In the battle with Vidudaba, they all came to destruction. Therefore it is said, "Before I was a fisherman's son in a fisherman's village. Having seen fish being killed, it produced a little happiness. Through that deed and through its result, I had a great pain in my head, and all the Sakyans were killed when they were slain by Vidudaba." In the 10th inquiry, called Eating Barley, we hear about eating husked barley. In the past, it seems, the Buddha-to-be was reborn in a certain family, and because of his high birth and being blinded by foolishness, having seen the disciples of the gracious one Pusa enjoying sweet drinks and food and the finest rice and so on, he scolded them, saying, "Hey, you shaveling ascetics should eat barley. You shouldn't enjoy the finest rice." Through that unwholesome deed and its result, after undergoing suffering in the 4 lower realms for countless thousands of years, in this his last state of existence, he by and by attained Buddhahood. Having sympathy for the world while walking in the villages, towns and royal cities, at one time, while in the vicinity of the Brahminical village of Vairanja, he arrived at the root of a margosa tree endowed with spreading branches. A Vairanga Brahmin, having approached the Gracious One, being unable to overcome the Gracious One in any way, became a stream enterer and invited him, saying, "Venerable Sir, please undertake to spend the rains retreat here." The Gracious One consented by remaining silent. Then, beginning on the following day, the wicked Mara possessed the whole of those dwelling in the Brahmin village of Vairanga. And when the Gracious One entered the village for alms, because of being possessed by Mara, they did not give even 1 spoon of alms food. The Gracious One, surrounded by the community of monks, returned with an empty bowl. A horse merchant arrived at the very place where they resided, and after giving a gift of alms food that day, and inviting the Gracious One and his 500 monks thenceforth, and dividing a share of food from the 500 horses, he crushed the barley and dropped it into the monks' bowls. All the well-born gods from the whole of the 10,000 universes dropped in godly nutrients, so that it was like freshly cooked milk rice. The Gracious One partook of the food, and for 3 months thereafter he partook of barley. At the end of 3 months, being no longer possessed by Mara, on the invitation day, the Vairanga Brahmin, after remembering his duties, became very anxious and gave a great gift of alms food to the community of monks with the Buddha at its head, and, worshipping, begged for forgiveness. Therefore it is said, "I blame the teachings and disciples of Buddha Pusa, saying, 'You should eat and enjoy barley, you should not enjoy this fine rice.' Through that deed and its result, for 3 months I ate only barley, when invited by the Brahmin to dwell 3 months in Vairanga."